So it's pretty common for me to get asked, hey Kevin, how do you find good contractors? How do you deal with headaches in rental property renovations, or you know what, renovations in general? See, most of us in our lives, we plan to probably own some form of real estate, whether it's your own place that you want to renovate, or rental property, or apartment buildings, whatever. And you got to deal with handy folk, you got to deal with contractors, you got to deal with people. And dealing with people is funny because, you know, us humans, we make a lot of mistakes. Well, I checked in on this property briefly. I had like 2 minutes to pop my head in this morning, and I saw something that I wanted to share. Now I've got a little bit more time, so I want to bring you along with me and show you how I handle problems when they come up, and some of the rules that I follow when it comes to investing in real estate and just dealing with remodels and contractors in general. Because look, I was just in San Francisco doing the real estate investing crash course over at the Fairmont, which was really, really great. But one of the questions that came up at this event, that comes up pretty much at all of the real estate investing crash courses I do, it even comes up in the real estate investing course, although I have lectures teaching this, is how do you prevent problems? How do you actually deal with them? And how do you get contractors that just aren't gonna screw up all the time? And the easiest thing for me to do is just show you. So here we go. We're rolling up on this place right now, and we'll start, I'll show you a few small problems, and then we'll go to the bigger one. This place, my goal was to have photos done this week and get this thing rent ready. Problem is, I was in Puerto Rico for 5 days, then I was in Ohio for about 4 days, and then I went to San Francisco for 4 days, did the real estate investing crash course out there at the Fairmont in San Francisco, and I've been gone for a while. So when I'm gone, one of the downsides is, you know, things can sometimes come to a stop. And one of the things I kind of forgot to do is, and this is just, you know, I said humans make mistakes. One of the mistakes I made is I forgot to actually hire the concrete person to pour this concrete. So like, dang it, Kevin. Now, you know, that's gonna delay things a little bit, obviously. But I'm not so worried about that because I've already got a guy, I've already got a price. I just never said go. That is one of the downsides of not being local to your real estate. You know, one of the things I always teach as well in the real estate investing course or my programs is you wanna be local to your real estate. You know, if you have to get on a plane to go visit your real estate, it's very difficult to be reminded, oh, that's right, you know, that's something we still have to do, or that's something we added. You know, it's one thing to sit on a computer and a spreadsheet and try to plan everything out and pretend you've got everything set and squared away. It's another to actually go to the project and go, didn't think that would happen, or didn't think that would turn out that way, and then that way you can come fix it or deal with it. In fact, here's a really good example. The painter I use, he's really, really good, he's affordable, does a great job, he gets the quality paints that I want him to, and overall, he does great. I mean, when I look around, I generally love the work he does, but sometimes it's either him or some of his guys, either like the tarp or whatever gets blown away, and then stuff like this happens. You know, there's some overspray that comes on the concrete. That kind of stuff drives me nuts, and I don't like leaving properties like that. So I've kind of come to expect some things like this to happen. And you know, initially you might think to yourself, oh my gosh, like that's terrible, hire a different contractor. But then you have to evaluate, well, wait a minute, great pricing, I've built a relationship with this person, and basically during the touch-up phase, I see these things. Again, that doesn't work if you're just trying to renovate off a spreadsheet. And put blue tape over and just tell them, hey, go clean it. And then they scrub it. And if they learn to fix it and stop that from happening in the future, great. That's at least my hope. But I kind of just expect that, you know what, no matter who the contractor is, there are always going to be little mistakes. And that's something that has frustrated me, but I've kind of just grown to get used to. I've found that, honestly, no matter how expensive the contractor is, or how expensive the painter is, or how expensive the drywaller is, there are always going to be these little annoying problems. The heck is this? Like, honestly, I didn't see this earlier. Why is this? But anyway, setting up the expectation for touch-up work is something that I've just gotten very used to. Like, for example, this looks really nice to me, but obviously, we're gonna have to come remove the weeds. So I've gotten pretty used to coming out to my projects and my renovations and just realizing, okay, I hired the painter to paint the fences, I hired the landscaper to put in grass, and I hire people to do work, and sometimes I make mistakes and I forget things, but then when I come out here, I can send a few quick text messages. Hey, concrete person, you're ready to go. Hey, landscaper, need a little bit of touch up. Hey, paint person, all right, ready for you to come do touch up. Because I've sort of built in to the way I renovate that, you know what, I know contractors are going to end up having to come back and do touch up. I don't lose sleep over this stuff. I don't get anxious. I don't get stressed out. I just look and go, no problem. You know, they should all be able to come back this week. Concrete should be done this week. This place will be rent ready by next Monday or Tuesday. That's including this problem that I'm about to show you, which is honestly a little bit ridiculous. And before I show you another problem, I'm just going to point this out really quickly. These are all older cabinets here that we repainted and sort of lightly sanded and repainted with my favorite paint color, and then obviously put the hardware on. A lot of people would look at this kitchen before and say, oh my gosh, you got to throw that out. One of the problems I had though was I really wanted to put in a built-in microwave. But the cabinet wasn't sized for a microwave. It was sized for an oven back then. So with the trim kit and the microwave in, there was still this large gap underneath. And look what we actually did. We built a custom drawer right underneath it, which is pretty nice, on sliders, on guides and everything. And now you look and go, wow, you know, this is a pretty effective way to keep this kitchen intact without having to demo the whole kitchen and still have things look really functional and nice. You know, a lot of people look and they go, oh my gosh, you're keeping the cabinets, it's being a slumlord. You know, I look at this and go, no, actually, another big tip for dealing with contractors is do less. The less you do, the less problems you're going to have. Because pretty much every project you pick up, you're going to have problems. So to me, I look at these cabinets, for example, and I go, okay, well, if I'm going to tear out all the cabinets, what extra problems usually come up? Well, I'm probably going to have to replumb the walls, that is, re-level the walls, make sure everything's straight. I'm going to have to do a lot more drywall work. Maybe I'm going to have to rearrange where outlets are, where switches are. And basically, your project can balloon very quickly. It's kind of the same thing as when people are like, oh yeah, we'll just go ahead and remove that load-bearing wall right there. And then they realize, oh wait, now I have to hire an architect, and that's going to take me 6 weeks. Then I have to hire an engineer, and that's going to take me another 2 weeks. Then I'm going to have to submit it for plan review, and that's going to take me another 7 weeks to get a response from the city. And then if they want corrections, that's going to take another 3 to 4 weeks. It's a disaster. The more you do with construction, the more setbacks you have and the more headaches you have to deal with. So that's why I've gotten to the point where I look and I say, hey, you know what? What's my solution? And I'm going to show you another one here. But what's my solution towards dealing with contractors? Well, I've already given you a few. 1, simplify your projects. And number 2, be local so that when you visit the job site, you can shoot some quick text messages out and say, hey, you know, ready for touch up on this. Hey, would you mind coming back and doing some touch up on this? And then you make that final payment. So there's actually a third rule. Don't let payments get ahead of the work. I always make sure there's a balance left outstanding when it comes to making payments. So that way they're like, hey, you know, can I have the rest of my money, Kevin? Let me go visit the job. And then you do a walkthrough, you put some blue tape out. Sure, you know, knock out the blue tape and then go, you know, here's your pay. This establishes good relationships with your contractors anyway, because then they know, okay, you know, they get used to the sort of touch-up phase. But also, the big thing you want to train your contractors to know is, hey, don't leave things that I have to blue tape. You know, try to get this done the first time around. And you know what? As long as they know you're going to have a touch-up phase, they're not bitter about you sort of waiting to pay that sort of last 10% or whatever it is. And you know, then I do get people that say, hey, Kevin, I'm all for buying these wedge deals. I want to buy some below market value real estate. I want to build my net worth investing in real estate, much like this. But every time, you know, I have to meet a general contractor, they're really expensive or they book out 8 weeks or 12 weeks. And that's one of the reasons I actually like keeping your remodels simple. See, once you get really complicated with your remodels, yeah, you have to go to a general contractor and you're sort of stuck at the whims of a general contractor's schedule. But I look at a property like this and I say, well, wait a minute, flooring. Okay, I call the local flooring store. I go, hey, this is the flooring I want. These are the baseboards I want. Go have at it. Call my painter. Please paint the inside outside. I call my window cleaner. Go clean the windows. You know, these are all, like, these can even be little text messages. Or my favorite, I needed something done with heating and air or plumbing or electrical. I call the plumbing guy or the HVAC guy or the electrical company. And the cool thing about those companies is they usually have staff that actually answer the phone rather than maybe a general contractor where you're dealing with that one contractor. Now you're getting a staff assistant who answers the phone and schedules you a plumber to come out. And so to me, when I look at jobs like this, I go, okay, I got my floor guy, I got my painter, my electrician. Now I've got what? Flooring, baseboards, light switches, outlets, fans. I got my drywall guy. He comes, scrapes the ceiling, textures, that's done. Windows are clean. House cleaners clean the actual property. What do I have left? You know, usually what I have left are things like door handles, maybe installing the odd door or a vanity. The amount of work that's actually left for a general contractor is usually pretty low. Now, if I tore out the kitchen, there'd be more work for a general contractor, and then I'd be at their whims again. But here, where I paint the kitchen cabinets and I replace the hardware, there's just a little bit of handyman stuff. See, the painter comes in, they paint the doors, handy person throws on the knob, done, good to go. Simplifying the project is a key to actually minimizing the contractor problem. For example, over here, really nice bronzed glass door here for the shower. What do we got? The painter painted this bronze, the plumber installed the new fixtures, a refinishing guy did this, and the glass company threw the glass in. That was like 5 text messages or emails. I didn't even talk to the glass company. I just shot them an email. I go, hey, I need a shower door at this place. No problem, we'll go measure it. We'll email you a bid. They send me an email with the bid. I go, you're good to go. Here's the lockbox combination. Go have at it. Same thing with the plumber. Same thing with the refinishing guy. Like, you know, I think people get the impression that, oh, well, real estate should be passive income. Well, look, you don't buy a property for $160,000 below market value to where your net worth goes up $100,000 day one and expect to do nothing, right? You have to expect to be able to put in a few hours at least every week just to come by and check in on this stuff. But again, simplifying your project is a big solution. So let me now show you the headache that I'm dealing with here. So you'll notice, well, you tell me if you notice it. You'll notice the stove isn't installed yet, which isn't that big of a deal. It's gonna go right there, it's in the garage, it's ready to be installed. It's fine, I could bring it out right now and slide it in, it's not a big deal. But I just got back from these trips and check out where my vent hood is. My vent hood would pretty much exhaust my food on the countertop instead of the stove. So definitely a little bit of a problem here. And I mean, to me, this is just an example of pretty much whoever installed this was probably not the main contractor. And that's the other thing you get with sort of general contractors or really any kind of contractors anyway, is you're usually not getting the really skilled person doing the day-to-day work anyway. They're just all employees that come out and do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people make mistakes. But obviously, this needs to be moved. Now, I see the challenge, and this is a challenge that I didn't see beforehand, but if we are probably going to have this installed somewhere right around here to actually be center over the stove, it ain't gonna happen because there's framing here. So realistically, I need to come in here, frame this out another couple, maybe foot and a half, and then actually move this vent over and do it appropriately so that it's correctly centered over. You know, that now creates some extra work in this project. Now, I wish I weren't gone for the time I was gone because I would have noticed this, 10 days ago, but it's not that big of a deal. It was worth going to the trips, and sort of I look at it as, hey, the trips, compensated me for not being here anyway because they're work trips. But now I'm back. How do I solve this now? Well, number one is I send a picture to the person who installed this vent hood and I go, hey, you know what? You mind taking this off my bill? I'm gonna have to kind of redo this anyway. And okay, so I'm not out any money having them basically start this setup. Now I'm gonna call one of my handy folk, and what we're gonna do is basically frame out a new soffit here, move this over, reinstall it, drywall it, paint it, solve it, done. It'll be done in probably a day to day and a half of labor. This stuff happens, but the other thing, this is just another good bit of advice, is plan for this stuff. This stuff happens. Sure, could I have come in and noticed that way earlier? Probably, but you know what? Even really good contractors miss some things. And honestly, I mean, I hate to say it, but I kind of assumed that the prior vent would have been vented in such a way that it wasn't funky like that. But then I realized we had cabinets there, and that's why, you know, the old vent was vented through cabinets, and this one's gonna be a hood, so the hood has to be center, where before the cabinets kind of let the contractors or the builders cheat a little bit. So, and now I gotta deal with that problem, but I don't really care. It's still an amazing property. It's still an amazing deal. And I build that into my timeframes anyway. My expectations for these remodels are that they usually take me about 6 weeks to do, but I just tell myself I got 2 months to do it. So that way I build in some extra time. And we're on time on this deal. This deal closed October 4th, and I don't think we actually got started on the project until October 5th or 6th. And so our 2-month date is gonna be right around December 5th or 6th. And the place is pretty freaking much done. And for what it was before to what it is now, I think I got a lot of good work done, even despite the fact that I was pretty much gone for the last 2 weeks. Now, just a couple of extra notes that are worth mentioning. Pay your contractors on time, but don't let payments get ahead of work. I touched on that part, but pay them on time is important. If they're done, you're satisfied with everything, pay them. I hate to say it, a lot of contractors live paycheck to paycheck, and the last thing they want, or the best thing to make them bitter at you, is you're not paying them on time. So get that money. They don't want to wait for you to get paid themselves. So make sure you hire people when you got the money to pay them. And seriously, this one goes way further than anything else. Be nice to people. It's so easy to be bitter and upset with contractors, and just realize, look, people make mistakes. Even the job I just showed you, I totally forgot to hire the concrete person. It happens. All right, so what? The vent guy totally screwed up. It happens. The painter did a little bit of overspray. Happens. Every single job is like that. It doesn't matter how high-end the work is, there are always callbacks. My father installs kitchens that are worth $300,000 to $600,000. So when he gets paid to install a kitchen, he gets paid like 60 grand sometimes to install a kitchen, which, like, it sounds mind-blowing, but yes, he can make $60,000 spending a month installing a kitchen, because they're just so high-end and so expensive and they have to be so perfect. And guess what? Even he builds into his pricing for the install 2 callbacks, because stuff happens. It can't be perfect. It's not a perfect world. And when you realize that and you eliminate that stress, whew, things become a whole lot more chill. Good luck out there. Now, I hope that helps you a little bit with your contractors. So just a recap as to what I'm doing as soon as I stop recording this is I'm sending a text message to my painter, hey, ready for touch-up for you. Sending a text to my landscaper, hey, ready for some weeds to be removed before photos next week. Got to get those messages into my cleaners that are going to come in right after that handy person, awesome person, fixes the kitchen. And then I'm going to send a message over to the person who installed the vent and go, hey, you know, can we get this fixed and off the build? All in the same time, shoot a quick message on over to the concrete person, make sure, hey, we could definitely get this done this week, and then have photos scheduled for Tuesday, so everything will line up. And you know what? Worst case, Friday comes and I need to end up pushing things back to Wednesday, no big deal. Although my goal is definitely to get this stuff done by Wednesday, because Thursday's Thanksgiving, Friday's Black Friday. So I'd like to be done before those days. And then it's on to hunting for another wedge deal. So there's sort of a realistic set of issues you would run into. Hopefully you got some advice out of this. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure to check out those courses linked below. Use that coupon code THX24 as our Thanksgiving coupon code to join me in the real estate investing courses, so you too can get these deals below market value. There's also a course for real estate agents, personal finance course, and a do-it-yourself property management course. We'll see you there. Thanks so much.